Hey guys, what's up? I'm back with the review of Rent-A-Pal. And I have with me my snacks right here. I have right here some Doritos Ranch. Amazing, love them. I have right here my dip, French onion dip. And I have right here my caramel corn. And I got a few caramels here too. So let's get started with the review. First, I want to say that if you haven't seen the movie, go see the movie first. Watch it and then come back and do the review with me. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you're notified whenever I put up a review. Let's get into the review. So this movie, Rent-A-Pal. This movie is sort of a drama slash horror movie. And I thought it was a really good movie. This movie was put out in 2020, but it looks like it's a early 90s movie to me. The main character, David, seen here. Yes, he looks crazy because he is very crazy in this movie. Doesn't start out that way, though. He starts out introducing us to his life and how he's taking care of his mom, Lucille, who is suffering from dementia. And in the movie, let me eat a little bit here so I don't go too fast and tell you guys too much too fast. Love Doritos, love snacks. If you don't like smacking and chewing, you might not want to continue to watch this video. So, to continue, David is in the basement of his mom's house and he's watching dating videos. And he's, wanting to find a girlfriend to help him, take care of his mom and all that. But being an introvert, he, is kind of shy and everything like that. So David goes to the agency where he gets the videos and he wants to do another video about himself. And I believe actually they call him in to do another video about himself. And so he goes to the agency and he's asking about, new girls, new videos and all that. And so each time he goes there to do this, he has to pay. And so he goes home with the new videos and everything and he's watching them. He doesn't like what he sees. A few days later, the agency calls him and said, oh, there's a young girl that's interested in you. And so he goes up there. He's excited. He tells his mom he's leaving. He's all excited. But when he goes up there, he forgets his wallet because he has to pay every single time, he gets a video or anything like that about these girls. And guys, when he gets up there and figures out he forgot his wallet, he lets them know and he says, oh, I'll be right back. I'm going to go get my wallet. I'll be right back, because they have all this information on a young lady. Her name is Lisa. So when he goes home to get his wallet and he comes back up there, they tell him, oh, Lisa went with someone else, and you got to be quick about these things. The ladies take dates fast. And so David is clearly upset. He's upset. He's sad. He's disappointed. You can see all the emotion on his face. And I just feel for him. A guy stays at home with his mom. He takes care of her all day. He washes her. He feeds her. She can't feed herself, everything like that. So I just feel for him because they were telling him about how Lisa is the perfect girl for him because, she's a caregiver. She can help him take care of his mom, which is what he's looking for. And so I felt really bad when they told him that she went with someone else. Got my water here. So, and while he's there, they do tell him that, and when they tell him that, he's all emotional. And he says, well, can I still see the video? They say, sure, of course. So he goes to pay for that. And as he's paying for that, he looks down and he sees a box of videos. And he sees the Rent-A-Pal video. And that's where it begins, his relationship with Andy. Andy's the guy in the video of Rent-A-Pal. He's the pal. So he takes this video, he goes home, and when he puts it in, like all of us, he has a normal reaction to it. He thinks it's weird. He thinks it's crazy that here's this guy, Andy, introducing himself and saying, oh, I'm going to be your pal. We're going to be friends and all of that. And so Hope you guys got your snacks. And so as Andy is introducing himself, you can clearly see on David's face, he thinks it's strange. You know, he's answering back, but he thinks it's weird that he's talking to the TV, which all of us would think that was weird. I thought it was weird. But anyways, it goes on, and later on, he feeds his mom and, you know, gives her a bath, and he goes back downstairs, and the TV's on, although he thought he turned it off. And so he starts talking to Andy, and he starts interacting with him and rewinding and forwarding the video, answering his questions. And he gets really, really into talking with Andy and thinking that they're real friends. And he gets so into it, you know, he's playing cards with them. He's, you know, telling them about his days and telling them about his life and how he takes care of his mom and how he doesn't have anybody. And Andy tells him, oh, that's okay. You know, you have me. We're friends now. And so at that point, David, you can see something click in his head. And he really thinks Andy is real. He really thinks he has this friend now. He has somebody to share his life with. He has somebody to talk to and interact with other than his mom. And so, you know, later on in the movie, after he, you know, develops this relationship with Andy, the agency calls him back. And they tell him that Lisa didn't like her date. That she's, you know, ready to move on and she wants to meet him. And so he's excited again because, you know, remember Lisa, she's the caregiver, as you guys may have watched, and she seems like the perfect girl for him. She wants to be with someone. She talks about how she loves to be a caregiver. She talks about how she goes to the senior homes and takes care of the seniors and how she's really caring and loving. And it looks like they're going to be the perfect match. And so he goes up to the agency. Oh, no, he doesn't go up there yet. But the agency calls him and says she wants to meet you. You know, you guys can go out on a date. So they pick a date. It's at the skating rink. And, you know, later on, he goes on that date with Lisa. He meets her there. And their first interaction is kind of, you know, how it would be going on a blind date. You know, because that's basically what it is. Even though they've seen each other's videos and they know what each other look like, it's still a blind date because you really don't know the person. So he goes on this date with Lisa. And, you know, Lisa and them, you know, they're both getting to know each other. She asks about his mom. You know, he tells her about Lucille and how, you know, when he wants to go out, he has to take her to a nursing home and it's like a daycare for her. And, you know, they're just talking about his life. They're talking about what she does and how she loves her job. And then she starts to tell him, you know, David, you have, you know, you take care of your mom every single day, but you have to remember to take care of yourself too. You know, you can't sit at home all day and take care of your mom. You have to remember to take care of yourself because that's important. And it seems like he sort of takes that as an insult. I know you guys saw that in the movie where, you know, it kind of clicked, like he thought back to Andy, and while he's on a date, he's actually telling her some of Andy's jokes that Andy told him. And it kind of clicked with him. You could tell that he was kind of upset. He thought she was, you know, attacking him a little bit and attacking his character with his mom. And he says, you know, I love taking care of my mom. I would never put her in a home. And, you know, what do you mean I need to take care of myself and things like that. And so she tells him, you know, I didn't mean to upset you. You know, I was just, you know, trying to give you some pointers on life and, you know, that sort of thing. And so they get past that and they have a really good time. They're laughing, they're skating, they're holding hands and everything like that. And so it seems like they're really connecting. And I thought that he was going to let Andy go at this point. I thought he was going to get home, get rid of the videotape. You know, he has Lisa now and she wants to help him. And so he goes home and he's all excited because, you know, Andy is his friend now. He's somebody he can talk to and confide in. And so he goes home and he tells Andy about the date. Boy, when I tell you, Andy got upset, But of course, I don't think really Andy was really getting upset because, of course, at this point, it's all in David's head because he thinks they're friends. So Andy's upset. He said, you don't need her. You have me now. You know, you said you were going to play cards with me and we're going to talk and all that. So he feels like he let Andy down. He feels like he let his best friend down. Well, these chips are good. So Lisa and David decided to go on a second date the following night. But when he gets home and Andy's upset, he decides to call Lisa like, I can't go out with you. My mom is sick. Let alone his mom is, you know, yes, she has dementia, but, you know, she's not sick. She's actually sitting right behind him, you know, laughing and cutting up paper and tape. And she's doing some activity behind him, you can see. And so he tells Lisa, you know, I can't go on this date with you. My mom's not feeling well. It's not going to work out. And so Lisa offers to come over and help. He said, no, she's really upset. And she wouldn't like it if you came over, you know, it would be confusing for her. He tells her this whole excuse to get rid of her. Lisa, this girl that, you know, wants to help him, wants to be there for him. And I was just like, oh my goodness. Like, are you really doing this for Andy? This dude is not even real. So, after he tells that to Lisa, he hangs up the phone. And he goes back downstairs. I believe this is the following day that he tells her he's not going to go on the date. I believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong in the description below. In the comments below. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong if you've seen the movie. But I believe it's the next day when his mom is sitting there cutting everything up and, you know, he lets Lisa know that he can't go on the date with her. So he goes back downstairs to, you know, watch the video, to talk to Andy and to tell him, like, look, I'm not going on a date. Don't be mad at me. I'm not going to see her anymore and everything like that. And so he can't find the tape, guys. The tape is gone. Remember, his mom is upstairs cutting up some tape and gluing things together with paper and everything. She's sitting there laughing at the kitchen table and everything. So he goes upstairs. He's looking all over the place. Him and his mom used to watch movies together. So he's looking in there for the movie and he loses it. And because he cannot find Andy, he is just going crazy around the house trying to find Andy. So he goes to his mom. Guys, his mom is cutting up the videotape. And she says to him, can you find me some tape? This tape isn't sticking. I think it's old. Oh my goodness. Guys, David loses it. He flips out. He goes nuts. He goes crazy. Everything you want to think of, he does. He just loses it on his mom. And he picks her up. He's shaking her. He's yelling at her. How could you do this to me? That was my best friend. And, you know, he's just going nuts on her. He hits her. She falls on the floor. He runs out of the house. And this is when he goes back to the agency. And he's going crazy at the front desk with the receptionist. And where's this tape? And I want another tape. You guys had the tape here. Where is Andy? Where is Andy? And there's other people at the agency, these other men, and they're looking at him like, this guy is nuts. And I mean, I would have been looking at him that way too. I mean, he was going crazy, guys. And so as he's going crazy, looking for this videotape, asking her where this tape is, there's a young man standing there. And he has a videotape of Andy. And so David goes over to him because the guy he holds it up like, you know, is this what you want? And David snatches it from him. And he goes up, he takes out his wallet, and the lady's like, just leave. You know, we don't want you here. She has another guy from the agency that helps, you know, do the videos. He's there, ready to fight David. But he also looks scared of David, guys, because David is flipping out over Andy, you know. So he goes home, puts the tape in, and you're not going to believe this. He is hugging and caressing the TV. Oh, Andy, I'm so sorry. And all this, and he thinks Andy's talking back to him like, oh, it's okay, buddy, it's okay, everything's gonna be okay. And at this point, I'm like, there is no coming back for David. He's gone. He's lost it. There are too many screws loose. So he watches his tape of Andy, and then he really gets into his head this time. He starts thinking Andy is telling him to kill his mom, to get rid of her. You don't need her, you only need me. So David goes upstairs, and in his mind, Andy is following him. He's on all the TVs in the rooms, in the kitchen, in the dining room, in the living room. And he comes to his mom, who, by the way, all this time, you know, he hits her and she falls on the floor. She's crying. She's been on the floor this whole time, you guys. And so she's like, you know, David, help me, help me. So he picks her up, helps her up, and he's looking at her, and he takes her over to the stairs and pushes her down the stairs. She doesn't die right away. And she's at the bottom of the stairs screaming, and they show her, you could tell her legs all twisted up, broken leg, her hips probably broken. She probably broke a lot of bones, I'm telling you, because that was some fall. And he's still walking through the house, listening to Andy. And they don't show him call Lisa, but Lisa shows up, and she has a lasagna, and she shows up. She's like, oh, I'm here to see your mom. How are things? And she hears her mom, She hears his mom screaming out. And she goes to the stairs, and in horror sees her down there. She screams herself like, oh my God, David, what did you do? And she's asking him that, like, what did you do? What is going on? And so David comes over to her, and the tape that his mom was cutting up of Andy, the old tape, is still on the table. And he's talking crazy to her. He's saying the things Andy says, like he's Andy, and his voice is funny, and she's looking at him like, what is going on? She drops the lasagna. He grabs the tape. She falls in the lasagna. He starts choking her with the tape from the video. And she is screaming and trying to get away, but she's slipping on the lasagna. And I thought that part was a little bit funny, you know, but she's slipping around, and I'm hoping she gets away from him, because he's lost it. So she finally was able to get him off of her. I think she kicks him, or she hits him. She does something to get him off. She grabs the scissors from the table that his mom was using to cut up the tape, and she stabs him. She stabs him like in the upper side torso area. I think it was the left side. She stabs him, and she's screaming, and she runs out the door. He's sitting there on the floor, bleeding, gasping for air. And you can hear in the background screaming for help. What does he do? He goes downstairs, steps over his mom, who's laying there dying, sits down on the couch, turns on Andy, and at the end of the video, Andy, you know, he says goodbye, it was nice meeting you, and everything like that. So he fast forward to that part. You know, blood coming out of his mouth, and just, he looks bad. But I mean, can you blame Lisa? So he's sitting there, and then he dies, and Andy says goodbye to him. And that was the movie. It was, wow. It was something else, I tell you. And if I was Lisa, I don't think I would ever go to that agency again. I'll probably try to find somebody some other type of way. But I hope you guys like this review. Stay tuned for many, many more. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new. And hit the notification so you know when I put up a review. And if you haven't saw Rent-A-Pal and you watched this review already, hopefully you'll want to watch it. It's a really good movie. Bye, guys.